Picture the scene. It's 1980, the year that handheld electronic devices invaded the playground, led by a little-known Japanese company called Nintendo with their Game & Watch series of games. Casio, a company best known for their business calculators, decided to get in on the act with the MG880, a basic 5-function calculator with a couple of novelty features. A Space Invaders game that used the calculator's 7-segment LCD display for graphics and a simple melody function. It was an instant hit, though probably not so with teachers. Spurred on by their success, Casio released many more innovative calculator and watch-based products, including this, the Casio VL-1, better known as the VL-Tone. As its name suggests, it was the first in Casio's VL product line. It was one of the first musical keyboards Casio produced, and I believe the world's first commercial digital synth and sequencer, all for around £70. This one I've owned from new, and up until a few months ago I thought it had been thrown away or lost after I'd left home in my late teens. By chance, I mentioned this to my sister, and she told me that Mum had kept it, and last week I was finally reunited with it. I was a little bit concerned when Mum first pulled it out of the drawer. As you can see by the case, it's been well loved. It was handed down to my younger sister, and she in turn passed it on to our younger brother. Thankfully, the scruffy case appears to have served its purpose. The keyboard itself looks almost new. My sister has marked her territory here with AHA stickers and permanent felt tip. Yet the plastic has not yellowed noticeably. The screen has got no scratches. The battery contacts are not corroded, and more importantly, it still works. It's a tiny device with a keyboard that spans 2.5 octaves. All of the keys are effectively calculator buttons. They're not pressure or force sensitive, so they're either on or they're off. There are a number of control keys above the keyboard to perform functions like adjusting the tempo or selecting a rhythm, and a handful of sliders along the top here for switching the unit on and off and selecting various modes, switching between the different instruments the keyboard supports, selecting the octave, adjusting the balance between the rhythm and the melody, and the volume. To the left of these controls is the display. It's essentially an 8-digit calculator screen, although it does have some custom graphics, I think a sharp symbol, and to the left of that there is a large speaker grille. On the underside there's a battery compartment that takes 4 AA cells. And there's a reset button and a tuning potentiometer, just in case you wanted to play this along with an orchestra. On the rear of the device there's jack sockets for DC power in and headphone out. The eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that some of the keys have got calculator symbols on them. Like the aforementioned MG880 before it, it doubles as a calculator. Incidentally, in 1985 Casio released the VL-Tone in a more traditional calculator form factor, the VL-80. This looks like a cut down version of the VL-1 with no rhythms and only one voice. A customised version of this was apparently distributed by Kraftwerk as part of an album tour back in 1985. Anyway, onto the keyboard's musical credentials. Let's switch it on. It's a monophonic keyboard. Turn the volume a bit. There you can hear there's one issue with this, which is the fact that the potentiometers are a bit noisy. Let's see if we can get that working. Oh! There we go. I think I'll need to clean those out with a bit of contact cleaner later. Right, so it's a monophonic keyboard, which means it's unable to play chords. It's got 5 preset voices. We've got piano, fantasy, violin, flute, and guitar. As you can hear, the names are a bit generous. You have to use a fair bit of imagination, especially with the guitar, the weakest voice in the selection. There's a 6th voice, ADSR. Now, some of you may recognise that term. It stands for attack, decay, sustain and release. This voice is the one programmable voice on the keyboard, and the envelope data is rather ingeniously stored in the calculator memory, where each digit represents voice, attack, decay, sustain level, sustain time, release time, vibrato and tremolo. So if I switch the calculator mode on, so it's voice. You actually get more voices than the ones that are displayed here, but I'll pick 2 for the voice, 5 for the attack, 2 for the decay, 7 for sustain level, 5 for sustain time, 3 for release time. Let's have a lot of vibrato. 8 for vibrato and 7 for tremolo. This is probably going to sound really ugly, and I add that into the calculator memory here. That's not too bad, is it? So, as I mentioned, in addition to the 5 preset voices, the ADSR function unlocks more voices. There's a 2nd guitar, an English horn, and 3 so-called electro sounds. The VL-Tone comes preloaded with 10 rhythms. These are simple loops which utilise 3 basic drum sounds, and the tempo can be increased or decreased with these buttons. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. You press rhythm and then you select the rhythm from here. So the simplest one's march. And we can dial the tempo up to 9. There are more complicated ones, Rot 1. That's one you might recognise, we'll come on to that later. And we can kill the rhythm by pressing reset. There we go. The calculator display is used to display the notes being played and any operations that you do. So you can see as I decrease or increase the tempo, it displays the tempo there. So if I start putting in notes, you can see that it displays the note value there. And then we get a high or a low bar there depending on what octave range we're in. And you might just see above those 2 free notes there now a sharp symbol. The VL-Tone originally shipped with a booklet that contains a number of popular melodies. That's long lost. I do remember the scores were written out on a stave, and I think they also included the key to press. Perhaps Casio were hoping that this would be a practical introduction to music theory. As well as live performances, the VL-Tone has a simple yet effective sequencer. It can store up to 99 notes, I think, along with their duration. And notes in memory can be deleted from or inserted into the sequence. So let me see if I can do this now. Select this from play mode to record mode there. And I think clear memory. So if I go, if I then go into play mode, I should be able to play that back. A handy feature for one-fingered pianists is one-key play, so you can enter the tune at any tempo, and by tapping on the one-key play buttons you can re-record the notes at the correct tempo, or just play them out. I quite like the way this has been implemented by the designers. Having two buttons makes it easier to tap out the rhythm than just tapping a single button. I've mentioned that the sequencer stores the note value and duration. Unfortunately, the keyboard doesn't allow you to store a voice or octave change in the sequence, though if you are quick, you can manually do that. So you can manually change those by sliding the switches to the appropriate position as the tune is played back. I don't think this was a serious attempt by Casio at all to produce a studio quality musical instrument. It's clearly not in the same league as other notable 80s keyboards like the DX7 or the Roland D50. Despite this, it's had some notable chart time, most famously by the band Trio, who used the Rock 1 rhythm and piano preset in their song Da Da Da. So I mentioned earlier about you may recognise this rhythm. If you go and listen to the song Da 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 by Trio, that's the sound you will hear. It's also been used to greater or lesser extent by bands such as the Human League, The Fall, The Assembly, Fergie, Robbie Williams and XTC, and it is also featured in Thomas Dolby's pop video She Blinded Me With Science, alongside the legendary popular TV scientist Magnus Pike. Finally, I will leave the Casio VL-Tone to play itself out with its earworm-inducing demo tune.